First off, the problem is that in order to have new birds get hatched, the bird has to lay eggs on a nest box and then be allowed to sit on them until they hatch. Kind of makes sense, right? The problem is that a few things can happen. One, a dwarf might come in and just take the egg and put it into a stockpile somewhere. Once it's moved from the nest box to the stockpile, then it can't hatch because it's not being incubated. So one way to handle it is you could go to your stockpile and you could go into food and you could disable eggs, which basically says don't put eggs here. And so when they're laid, they won't store them. But there's another reason that the eggs might be removed, and that's if the cook decides I'm going to make some food, and yeah, I'm going to take some cheese, some milk, and some eggs, and he'll just go in that room and steal the eggs from the chickens. So the other way that you can remove it is you go to the kitchen menu and you disable eggs for cooking. Now we've got 10 hen eggs right now. That's, we could just disable them here, period. But then you might end up getting something called a chick explosion, which is where you have just tons of animals all of a sudden. Another way you can do it is you go in and you can see, okay, let's find a nest box that's been claimed and has eggs in it. Apparently none. You can wait until you see a chicken lay an egg, and you can go in and forbid just a couple eggs, and then those ones will be ignored by the dwarves, period, for everything, and they'll just sit there until they hatch. Now, I'm going to use a utility called Auto Butcher, and Auto Butcher is awesome for tracking animals. So let's go. We need to go df hack to work with Auto Butcher. But let's just look at it. Just type out Auto Butcher, and let's make this bigger so we can see all the stuff it's going to talk about. Now you can read this in your own time if you want, but basically, I'll read part of it. It says you assign your livestock for slaughter once it reaches a specified count. Requires that you add the target race to a watch list. Only tame units will be processed. So it's not going to deal with any wild animals. Like if wild geese or wild turkeys come onto the map, it ignores those. It does give some examples of how to work with it, but I want to first do this. I want to do Auto Butcher, and I want to do Auto Watch. So it's going to auto add animals to the watch list as they come into the game. Let's also say Auto Butcher and list. Currently the race list is empty, so it's not tracking anything yet. Let's say Auto Butcher all. I don't think, actually no, that's not a command. Oops, I haven't used this in a little while. I have to remember. You get to learn with me. How do you do it again? Well, first off, let's start it. There we go, that's the problem. I didn't have it started. So now we're getting a bunch of notifications here at the bottom. Okay, so I can go here and it's saying, okay, I've just detected a bunch of tame races that aren't part of the list, and so I'm going to add them to the list. So it's added bird, goose, bird, turkey, mastiff, dog, cat, bird, chicken, and horse. So let's go back and take a look. What did I just do? What does that mean? So now, if I look at, say, Auto Butcher list, you can see FK stands for the number of female kids. MK is the number of male kids. FA, female adults. MA, male adults. So essentially, Auto Butcher is going to automatically pulse every minute or so, and you can actually change how many frames go by. Again, it's saying the default is 6,000 frames, which is about 60 seconds, once a minute at 100 frames per second. Whatever. If it's pulsing too often for you, you can always reduce it. It doesn't really actually do anything. You can't see it. But essentially, every minute or so it pulses, and it checks the number of animals in the fort. And if you have more than these numbers, it will automatically assign them to be butchered. And what it does, and this is the best part, it automatically finds the oldest animals to butcher, which will be the biggest animals with the most meat, the most bone, and all that other stuff. So it just tracks all that stuff for you. So for instance, like geese, for example, I don't really want to butcher the chicks. I actually want to grow these birds until they're adults, and then I want to butcher them. I want them for their meat. Eggs are okay. They're quick and dirty, but you get a lot more food from the animal if you allow it to grow to an adult. So let's take the bird goose, for example. I'm going to change a couple of the settings here. So I'm going to say auto butcher, and I do unfortunately need to look at the example because I can't remember how to do it exactly. Default setting for new races is that. That's fine. Oh, here. There's auto butcher example. So I could say auto butcher target, and that's going to change the target, which is what I want to do. So I want to say auto butcher target, and then I want to have, say, as many as 10 of each chick, and I don't really want to increase my maximum adult population here. 5 I think is going to be plenty, so I'm going to keep 5 adult females and only 1 adult male. So don't kill any babies. Keep 5 adult of the female birds and just 1 breeding male. And then I need to type out the name of that animal. So bird goose. So bird underscore goose. And it does have to match the capitalization. This is capitalized. So I'm telling it set the target for bird goose to that. Now I just changed 1 animal, but let's say I had multiple animals that I wanted to do that with. If I just press the up arrow, I can select the previous entry, and I can just say bird goose, and then I can type another animal, like say bird turkey. Setting target for races bird turkey and bird goose. So you don't have to do every single entry by yourself. And so I want to do all these birds that I brought. And let's see. So now I'm going to do auto butcher list, so I can see what the settings are at. So I've got the birds taken care of. Now dogs, I don't really want to ever butcher because dogs are something that I'm going to end up using in the military and for hunting and for security and that type of thing. So I don't really want them to be tracked. So what I can do is I can say auto butcher, unwatch, mastiff, dog. Stopped watching races dog and mastiff. So if I type auto butcher list, now they're not going to be part of the animals that are tracked and butchered and stuff. Now cats is another thing that you've got to be cautious with. You can have a cat explosion where you just have tons of cats, and I don't really want to deal with that. But there's another way that you can do it, and that's to, again, auto butcher is only going to kill animals that are unnamed and tame. So what I can do, if I really wanted to make sure my cats don't get killed, I could go into Dwarf Therapist, go to Animals, find these cats, and set nickname. And I could just name this cat, you know, Mouse Hunter. And then click Save, Commit. So we've got Cat Mouse Hunter, and rename this one to also Mouse Hunter. It is good to have a couple cats because they take care of vermin in the fortress. So now when I go back to Dwarf Fortress and I say auto butcher list, it is watching cats, but let's see, how do I pull that up again? I can't remember exactly how to find out what it's tracking. But because they're named, because in this list here, in the animal list, they are a named cat here, they're not going to be butchered. And so, and if that setting here doesn't work, I actually can't remember 100% for sure if nicknaming them on this screen corrects it. But the way that I know definitely does is if we go to, try not to get too complicated on you here, but we go here, we select the cat, go back to DF hack, and we type rename unit. Cat breed, yeah, we'll just call it Mouse Hunter. Okay, maybe it's not rename unit like that. How do you spell it? I apologize. I've been playing a lot of Crusader Kings 2, and I don't remember. Apparently it's just rename. Rename unit. Okay. Darn it, I needed a space. Rename space unit. So now this is going to rename the currently selected item in the game. So now I click, and now it's Mouse Hunter Stray Cat. We'll do the same thing for that one. So now these will definitely never get butchered, and I do like to have a couple of them. And then what I could do is, let's say that I only want these 2 cats, and that's it. I could say auto butcher, and let's say auto butcher target 0000 cat. Setting new target count for races cat. Okay, auto butcher list. So let's discuss what this means. I'm basically saying if any cats ever show up ever in my fortress, instantly kill them. Instantly assign them for butchering. And this is actually a pretty common setting that you may want to use, because what ends up happening is that you cannot butcher pets, and cats will randomly assign themselves to a dwarf. So let's say you have like 10 cats in the fortress, and they all assign themselves to a bunch of different dwarfs. You can never get rid of them short of arranging their death in a clever way. So then, if you have a whole bunch of breeding cats, you're going to constantly have cat explosions, and then all of a sudden those cats assign themselves to dwarves, and you don't want to deal with that. Well, by instantly butchering them, you can keep the numbers down. And if you don't want to kill a couple of them, you just rename them like this. So anyway, that's a little bit of an aside on how you do all that stuff. So now Auto Butcher is going to take care of my chicken population for me. So what I am going to do is I'm going to disable cooking. Actually, I'm going to let them cook the eggs they've gathered. I'm just going to not gather any more eggs. No, never mind, that's not going to work, because he's going to automatically be trying to go get it. Let's just say you can't cook with eggs anymore. No more cooking with hens, geese, or turkeys. Right. Okay, let's go keep playing. Dining room's almost fully built out. Let's go ahead and queue up another floor of stone bedroom. Stone noble. Let's get 8 more of those. So we can build out the next bedroom level when our immigrants come, which should be pretty soon, I think. Okay, so we got the farmer's workshop done earlier. I'm going to add milk creature and make cheese to this. And I think I heard that with this patch, this version, Dwarf hack, you can actually track milk creature as well. Liquid of any milk? Yes. Perfect. And, oh, that's right, I brought milk with me. I forgot all about that. So we'll escape from that. And let's also track cheese. Control W. Yes, make it repeated. Add a constraint. Cheese of any material. Sure. And basically, now I'm going to do Control I, because this is just the way that I understand it better. So liquid any milk. I always want someone to be milking an animal if it can be milked. That's the whole purpose of having milkable animals. The last thing I want to do is have to constantly queue up milk animal. So I'm gonna set some big numbers. I'm gonna do range, and I want the range to basically be 1 to say 1,000. So unless we have 1,000 milk, always go milk animals. And since I disabled the announcements on this screen here, the order screen, announce no job cancellations, I'm not going to get flooded with a bunch of spam when there's no animals to be milked. So I don't have to worry about that. And then when it comes to cheese, again, I pretty much want them to always turn milk into cheese. So I'm going to say range, and let's put that at 1 to 250. So now, soon, someone should come along and the, you know, that horse will get milked and the cheese will get turned into, or the milk will get turned into cheese. As long as someone has milking enabled, milking and cheese making. Yep, I've got one. It's a miner though. It's such a problem when you've only got a couple dwarves. So let's add another miner, or another cheesemaker, and another milker. Milking. Oh, nope, the milker is not a miner, so that's okay. Alright. How are things going? Almost done with the dining room, that's good. The miners have run out of things to dig. In general, you pretty much want your miners always digging. Unless you are doing totally fine on stone. Until I get some idlers, though, I'm gonna let them help out with hauling. There we go. Looks like someone's working on something there. Resuming production of milk. So workflow just pulsed and realized that we don't have 1,000 milk, and so it's going to try to make milk. Pulsing is just the easiest term for me. That's what kind of makes sense to me. What are you doing? No job. Why are you hanging out there? That's not a meeting zone. It's a weird place to hang out, dude. Okay, so we got 3 idlers, and I'm going to guess that it's probably our miners. No, it's our stonecrafters, actually. So, here's the problem. They don't have any stone. So we definitely need to dig. I like to make things clean, but I really just do want to have a fairly big area that we can work with on this main floor here. So let's do this. Just dig all of that. If anyone's trying to sleep, they're going to get pissed off because it's only 1 floor away from them, but deal with it. Now they're all busy because if they're not digging, they're using the wheelbarrow to bring it over there, and then they're resuming more of the furniture typey stuff. Now this would be the point where it might make sense for me to disable all hauling labors on my miners, because what ends up happening is, oh good, we've got the rest of these nest boxes. So build capital N. Let's get at least 5 in this room so that these single, yeah, there we go. So 4 are in there for the geese, 5 are in there for the turkeys, 5 will be in there for the chickens. And you really only need 1 type of animal. Like, I could just do birds. That'd be fine. Like, just turkeys or something. But I like to have some diversity just because it's more realistic to me. But anyway, I was saying this might be a point where you might want to disable the hauling labors on your dwarfs, because what ends up happening is that if he's got multiple labors assigned, he might be in the middle of digging over here and then decide all of a sudden, I need to make cheese. And he runs from here over here. Whereas, you know, or for example, he might decide, oh, I've just chopped down or cut down this wall. I'm going to move this stone to the stone stockpile. Well, why don't you let another dwarf do that, since you're right there and you could instead just dig out the next wall. So soon, especially after we get our first migration wave, I'm going to disable some more of the hauling labors. And I will go into more detail about how the optimizer system thing works. Right, so we just had some announcements. Rock nest box are complete, stone nodal. Okay. Let's Alt F for quick fort, pull up bedrooms, build, and I need to be O in the center of this floor, Alt D. Okay, and while I'm at it now, I'm going to queue up probably the next, let's make 16 this time, so we'll do 2 floors at once. Struck some titanium, that's good. Not really doing much as far as like weapons and armor and all that stuff yet. Really, I'm just doing most of the, dig a hole in the ground so we've got someplace to sleep.
Some migrants have arrived.
Hey, here come the migrants, yay!
Got no shoes. Get those shoes, boys.
So they appear at the edge of the map, and they're going to just basically beeline it straight to the meeting zone, which is going to be the dining room. You can see them coming in right now, coming across. They're going to go straight in and hang out here until they decide to go do something. Now, I can read dwarves and see how many we have. Looks like we bumped up from 7 to 11, so we've only got 4 in that wave. We could also sort by migration wave to see how many we've gained. You can see there's the 4. They've come with a few labors, but I don't really care. I'm going to select all my dwarves and run my optimizer. And it's going to go through and say, you know, these are the things that these guys want to do and would be good at. So I'm just going to optimize, and then I'm going to see kind of what it did. So based on the amount of dwarves that I have, it's only allocated 2 miners. I still want 3. You can't be a miner and a woodcutter at the same time, so by me making this guy a miner, he's now not a woodcutter. So let's go ahead and sort by woodcutters, and let's make a second woodcutter. Sure. It got rid of all the fishing labors. I don't want any dwarves going outside quite yet. Now, see, this is one of the things that's kind of interesting about using the optimizer, is that this was my cook. This is the guy that I had cooking earlier. But this person is better at it and would like it more.